You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin.
From aliens to ghosts, demons to angels, and from shadow people to the outlandish, Heidi Hollis is the Outlander.
Welcome everybody to my awesome Friday evening. You are listening to me, Heidi Hollis, the Outlander. Welcome to the show. Put your feet up. Don't put it up on my table, though. It's okay, though. Grab some popcorn. Tell a friend. Oh, my God, that girl Heidi's on. She's so awesome. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So I got to tell you guys who do not know what this show is about. This show is about outlandish topics, of course. What's outlandish? Everything. Angels, ghosts, demons, holy encounters, shadow people to Bigfoot to the outlandish. I always say if it's weird, we're here. And now you are too. So you are among friends, people. Isn't that nice? Don't you feel good? I'll tell you a little bit about myself. If you do not know who I am, that's a shame. It's really a shame. But when it comes to the outlandish, from visions of Jesus to naming the shadow people, I'm someone who has been there, seen that, experienced it, freaked out, found some answers, wrote about it, got over it, and now I'm hoping to help others do the same darn thing and understand this various, and widely strange world of ours. If you want, go to my main website, which is HeidiHollis.com. Just sound it out. It's a German Heidi, H-E. I've had people spell it Heidi and Heidi, and it's very interesting. But on my website, you will see a gallery of aliens, shadow people, YouTube, anything and everything. And I want to tell you guys, this network that I am on has some fantastic ways to hear the show. Get the IRN app. Inception Radio Network app, and my goodness, you could just hear me everywhere. I love when I get these emails where people I fell asleep listening to 5 hours of you. I'm like, cool. That's a good thing. Or you could also just dial a number. This is how my parents listen. 401-283-6700. I mean, just dial a number. Say you're not close to any place that you could hear me. You just do that. And that's nice, isn't it? And I also want to let you guys know that you can join me in the chat room. I'm in the chat room. Hello, everybody. How you doing? Everybody's waving hello. I see them. And you can also feel free to call into the show, 1-888-919-2355. Or if you want, you can even just Skype your comments and questions to Inception Radio Network. Go on Skype and just type that in and you will find us. Isn't that cool? Yep. MJ's here. He's working the production tonight. So, yay. He'll be able to tell us what is going on if anybody's chattering out there. It's all good. It's all good. Now, I want to tell you guys something. At the beginning of all my shows, I always do something called, here comes my special effects, the Outlandish Corner. Oh, yeah, that's spooky sounding, isn't it? Outlandish Corner. What is the Outlandish Corner? This is where I take your emails about anything that you've experienced out there. I don't care what is happening. I mean, I'm not a guru. I'm not a psychic. I'm just somebody who's dealt with a lot of stuff and wrote about a lot of stuff. And, just kind of level-headed in approaching this stuff. And, so feel free to write me. I don't care what it is. And we will just go there. I will read this stuff off, and I will give you some advice as I figure it out as we go along. And I don't generally read the emails, so that makes for a lot of fun and me, doing a lot of editing as I'm going along because people swear a lot. Go figure. I don't get it. You see Bigfoot in your living room, and you're going to put an F word in the email? Okay, so yeah, I understand that. So I welcome you guys to feel free to write me at dustoutlander@gmail.com or go to my Facebook page. Just put a 1 in front of Heidi Hollis, or go to Twitter and @1 Heidi Hollis as well. Send me your questions and your stories. I dig it. It's all good. It really is. So, and you know what? I have an awesome, awesome guest this evening who has also written a ton of books on anything and everything odd, and I will officially introduce her after we do the Outlandish Corner together. How about that? I have Marie D. Jones here. Woohoo! Hey, Marie, how you doing?
Did you just call me odd?
No, not really.
No, actually, that's a compliment. So.
It's all good. You and I are going to delve into the Outlandish Corner here tonight together. And okay. I'm just gonna like dig into this magic purple fuzzy hat, and I'm gonna just read something off here. And let's just throw our pieces of advice at it. How about that, Marie? Is that cool?
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. This is funny because somebody like already spelled my name funny. It's Heidi. Ooh, Miss
Heidi.
Yeah, and they calling me Dear Miss Heidi. That's very formal. I love it. Okay, so here we go. Marie. Dear Miss Heidi, I would be willing to pay for your time for a counseling phone call. No, I'll do it for free. I'm doing it right now. I am feeling called to practice love and light anchoring ceremonies, specifically on satanic ritual cycles. I've been looking into white magic, but honestly, it does not feel right. I do not buy it. Okay. I am a yogini for 25 years now. I have been having visions for years, leading me into this direction. I did have a demonic infestation in my apartment. It did battle with unseen demon that were eventually removed from the invocation of Lord Jesus Christ. Amen, brother. Okay. I am an absolute believer in Lord Christ's divinity. Your interview on Coast to Coast AM was helpful to my realization. Oh, that's cool. This entity did try to possess me. I was suddenly awakened with a scream from myself. Ooh, that gives me chills. With an extreme feeling of invasion and me screaming no, and knew it was on the ceiling. Oh, okay, I got goosebumps on that, Mariana. How about you?
I don't like anything on the ceiling.
Yeah, no, it's just not cool. I mean, maybe a plant, but okay. And it continues. I am nervous about this calling. I do not take it lightly. I know that it is a serious request, but I also know through visions that even a few of the love and light vibration can offset the many evil selfishness. So far, my plan is to sit in meditation with God and Spirit and see what I am directed to do. What advice or direction do you have? I trust your opinion. Mohini. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to take a stab first, Marie. Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So this is cool. I think this is awesome. I mean, to feel drawn to something positive. I don't quite know what love light anchoring ceremonies reflecting on satanic ritual cycles is about. I don't get that. But white magic, that word magic always makes me a little nervous, and the censors out there, I think. So it's like magic. It's like even like the censors hate Harry Potter, the Christian censors, I should say, because they say, oh, magic is all dark. But I don't really like magic, so to speak, either, because it's like you're invoking somebody to do something against their own will or to encourage something in the wrong way, or in a positive way even, but it's still against somebody's will. So when it comes to the more positive stuff, Lord Christ, divinity, hey, prayer, that's pretty magical right there. So I say go with the flow of that, Mohini, and live it up and follow your heart. I think we're born with that gut instinct for a reason to follow a path. And you're feeling drawn to it. 25 years, it's pulling you that way. There's nobody on this green earth that can say, do this because I said so. And anybody that does say they know all the answers, run, Mohini, just run. So Marie, what's your pick on that?
I think she answered her own question. I mean, she really already knows in her heart from what she's been doing all along for so many years, and I think she feels the pull. And whenever you get in a situation like that, it's always best to trust your heart, trust your gut, and do what comes natural to you instead of trying to be somebody else or do something that you think you should do. take your own gifts and your own talents and use those. If your goal is to spread more light and love in the world, you've got built-in inherent gifts and talents. And obviously, it sounds like she's been using them for a long time. So, like you said, it's just kind of go with what you're already doing. And you don't have to label or categorize it. Just, it's your own authenticity that is going to be a tool you have to change yourself, to change others, to change a situation.
Right. Yeah, I feel you on that too. I mean, it's spooky to think that, they were dealing with something demonic, but apparently, Jesus cleaned the house there for him. So, yay.
Yeah, there you go. Someone cleaned my house.
yeah. I mean, shoot, that was an interesting one. Mohini, go with the flow, do your thing, and let your Mohini mojo go.
Exactly, the Mohini energy.
There you go, blasted. Yeah. So I hope this was helpful for you, Mohini. We're going to move on to the next one. All right. Dear Heidi, that's me. In 2011, I attempted to kill myself. Oh, that's horrible. And was brought back all 3 times. Goodness, 3 times. All 3 times that I passed away. Ever since that time, I've seen and felt vibes from some things that usually end up being a shadow person or a ghost. Ugh. Now, the reason why I don't think they're the same is because of the different feelings I get from them. Shadow people vibes are always bad, and to me, always have a changing color around them, where ghosts are just like passing through the area. From a young age, I was labeled hypersensitive and prone to feel people's vibes to the people, and became an agoraphobic because of the amount of feelings I was taking in. That's what led me to the 2011 suicide attempt that then made me open to other things. So I'm learning to live with the changes I have to make in my life to feel safe with not much luck. But I wanted to send you a picture I took. I don't see a picture here. And want to see if you see what I see. For some reason, I find graveyards very calming and visit many, and this picture was taken at one that is not so comforting. So I hope you can see it. It's kind of lower center against a stone. I probably have to zoom in a little. Tell me what you think, Heath. Well, Heath, I'm sorry, but there was nothing attached to the email. I just don't see anything here. But thanks for the thought. I don't know anybody named Heath. I liked Heath Ledger, the actor, but that's an interesting name. And I like the candy bar. So anyways, 2011, haven't tried to kill yourself. I understand that hypersensitivity to other people's feelings. There are such people that I will call energy vampires, and those who dump upon you. Oh. And don't you know what I'm talking about, Marie? Isn't that
I know a lot of those.
Oh gosh, you feel it. It's heavy in the room, and you could come in perky as heck, and these Eeyores of all the world. You don't know who Eeyore is. Look at Winnie the Pooh. It's just I don't know. It's so downing. And I've had people literally say to me, gosh, Heidi, why are you so chipper? It's it was so irritating or something. I'm because I'm breathing. I'm having a good time. Me. What should I apologize that I'm not, dragging my knuckles on the ground? I don't know. But I totally understand that. But I also understand people who have had, those near-death experiences, and they come back with gifts, if you will. So I don't know. It's pretty fascinating, but I'm sorry I can't see this picture. But I don't have any other questions on this email except for look at the picture. And even if there was a picture, I have to say this, Marie, I don't know if you get these, but I'll get these pictures and people do you see it? And I'm no, I don't see it. So it's
and,
not.
I've had people get really belligerent when I couldn't see anything, and it's you know what? You're showing me your phone. It's pitch black. There's nothing there. And, people see what they want to see. It's a matter of perception. It's really interesting that this gal said she was saved from suicide attempts or death literally 3 times. I think that's proof that she needs to stick around and that her job was not done. That something was telling her, you're not going anywhere. So I think it becomes a matter of learning how to take your ultra sensitivity to the world around you and treat it as a gift, but also find a way to shield yourself from the negative energy. Sort of build a little invisible shield around yourself to be able to deflect all of the BS, of which we know there is so much out there to deflect. But just, again, that's a gift, just like the other gal. It's such a gift.
Right.
A lot of people are afraid of those gifts. They're rare, and I think it does take a little bit of practice to try to, know what kind of entities or whatever, what kind of energies to avoid and which ones to sort of embrace or allow into your space. But I don't have those problems. Nothing ever happens to me.
Oh, really? You're lucky.
Nothing. I mean, I've had things happen, but I'm always in such awe of people that, they say, oh, these things happen to me all the time. I'm thinking, well, what am I, a freak? Are you the freak or am I the freak? That's debatable, I guess.
It would seem that you are more paranormal because I think it's more normal that people now are seeing things. It's like the veil is growing thin.
Oh, man, I jumped the fence. Now I'm on the other side.
Exactly. Holy smokes. Holy cannoli. Well, yeah. That's interesting. But that was good advice, though. To find a way to protect oneself from these more, if you're super sensitive, you do have to build up, a wall of some sort. So.
And that's not just for the entities, that's for other people.
Yes.
I mean, really.
Isn't that the truth? I mean, oh my gosh. I
think the idea of shadow people is frightening, but to tell you the truth, I think I'm more concerned with, my fellow humans and they can drain energy from you.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I totally get you. I always tell people, give me the biggest, baddest, nastiest, stinky, rotten alien instead of a ghost, because they used to be a human.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they still may have those human traits that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what if you take this with you to the other side?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm totally on board with that. All right, so we're going to move on to the next one. Thank you, Heath, for that lovely little email. I've got another little doozy. It says, Dear Heidi, here's my story I've been waiting to share with you. I went to California for my nephew's wedding. I love this when people don't edit. For my nephew's wedding a month ago. A couple of months ago? A purple a month ago. The following day of the wedding, we got together at my brother-in-law's house. On my last visit, I had shared some stories of the strange and unknown that lurks out there. So I'm standing outside by the grill, keeping an eye out for my brother-in-law, and my niece's boyfriend approaches me and starts talking to me about what my niece had shared about my interest in the world of questions. The world of questions? Okay. He starts sharing a story about encounters his sibling and him have had with this shadow person. One of the encounters that caught my attention was when his brother opened the door to his room, only to encounter a shadow standing by his bed. His reaction was to run out of the room, well, amen, I'd do the same, and downstairs to safety. But what happened next intrigued me. As he was running down the hall, a lady, oh my gosh, came through the ceiling of the hallway and pinned him to the wall.
Oh boy, there's those ceiling things again.
Yeah, there goes another. The rest he didn't share. Why? I have no idea. Well, he probably crapped his pants. I'm just saying. What? Oh.
My God, now you got me scared.
What the heck?
Now I'm glad stuff like that doesn't happen to me,
Yeah, it counts your lucky stars. What on earth? That is, man, a woman? I want more details. God, I want to know more. What happened? So the woman pins you.
What are you not telling? What did he, what is he not telling that happened? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, then he had to grab a mop and clean the mess up off the floor. I mean, whatever. But, obviously this woman seemed very solid. And it makes you wonder, okay, so he sees this big baddie, this big shadow person. He bolts, he runs down the stairs and pinned. I mean, it's like the worst nightmare. You get tackled. You're trying to run from the monster, and the monster has a backup team, a little lady or something.
Yeah, it's a wing lady. That is scary. I mean, it's kind of interesting how some of these, the shadow person is just sort of a transparent, non-physical entity, but then just when you think you're out of the woods, you literally have something physical that can literally knock you down. And I don't know if I would call that a ghost or some kind of interdimensional thing that has somehow found the ability to take physical form in their world and then take it in this one. That is really creepy to think that. Yeah. But you hear about cases now and then where people are hit or pushed or there's some kind of physical contact. And I don't like those. I don't like anything coming from the ceiling either.
Through the darn ceiling. It's like you cannot see that coming.
No.
That is a blind side. Oh, man.
That's creepy. Did she go on to say if he's okay? Or
yeah. That was it. And this is an anonymous email. I'm like, please,
okay,
Mr.
Details, people.
Yes.
Details.
Give me more. We want to know the rest of the story. Go and pin your cousin down and ask him.
Yeah. Hopefully he's okay now. And
my goodness. Well, I'm going to get on to the next one then because, geez, I don't know what to say. Okay, this one says, Dear Heidi, about 12 years ago, I encountered a shadow person, although I've always called it a demonic spirit. That's fine. To give you a little background, I'm 32, and I'm a Christian of over 20 years. I received Christ at 12, and I'm a Baptist preacher. Oh, this is getting juicy, Marie.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, I slept over at my mom's one night in a room where my cousin had previously been staying. She was agnostic, a troubled teen, and had moved back to stay with her mom. I'm not sure if her staying in the room has anything to do with the presence of a shadow person or not. My mom has since told me she encountered a shadow person as a child more than once. She also had a troubled childhood. It was night, I don't know what time it was, and I lay in bed awake. I became aware that it was very cold. I thought it seemed a lot colder than it should have been. Trying to sleep was uncomfortable. The room is small, just to the right of the bed, hovering about ceiling height.
Oh,
Here goes the ceiling again, Marie.
There's a common thread here.
Yeah, what's going on? You say I don't like ceilings. Everything's about ceilings tonight.
There's your next book, Heidi.
Yeah, there you go. Ceiling encounters. Okay, it says the room is small and just about to the right of the bed, hovering about ceiling height. I saw a large humanoid shadow with pale white embers for eyes. Ew. Nasty. It appeared very suddenly, and I bristled with fear, fully awake. In my mind, I said, Jesus help me. But I didn't call out. I could feel this sinking feeling as I was seemingly engulfed in sleep. I slept dreamlessly for I don't know how long. When I came to, I opened my eyes, expecting that whatever I had seen before was just a dream. But to my astonishment, oh no, it was still hovering in the same place.
Oh, God. There you go. That's the worst nightmare. You wake up from the nightmare and the nightmare is still there.
Oh, my gosh, for real. Okay. Oh. And it says, but it seemed much less menacing now. I was able to regard it without any fear. It was just a big, dark shadow with no legs and broad shoulders. It seemed to drift upwards out of the ceiling. Oh, this is too funny. I have always supposed it went away defeated by some spiritual warfare that took place while I was out. I slept peacefully the rest of the night and told no one for a long time. I have since read about the shadow that appeared to one of Job's friends in the night. These shadows are what I call lying spirits because they also told Job's friends truths about God that were couched in lies. I've never heard that. Although I seemingly saw it with my eyes. I still have never been sure if I perceived the spirit in my mind or if it had a true physical form. I hope this helps your research. God bless you, Kyle. Oh, thank you, Kyle. God bless you, too. My goodness. Terrifying.
Yeah, the ceiling thing. Yeah, you gotta wonder if people hear about other shadow people sightings that happen that involve the ceiling, and it just becomes some sort of viral, mental urban legend in a sense. It gets passed around. It's just kind of unusual that you would hear so much about stuff. I mean, why? What is the point? What is the big deal? If something can manifest in our reality, it can certainly do so in any number of ways, but why is it coming downward from the ceiling? Maybe that's scarier to us. I don't know. It's just weird.
It's wild to me, when it comes to the whole shadow people topic. I mean, this is like totally the thing that I just cover quite a bit, because I first put it out there chatting on this stuff, and I was stunned when I got thousands of emails in response to, oh my God, I experienced this too, and da 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 da. And it's like, it's interesting to me because this is a preacher, a Baptist preacher, no less. Now, I know Baptists.
They usually don't tolerate paranormal stuff too well.
No, and they surely don't talk about this in this sense. So it's like, it's interesting to me that, this thing came as it did, and, it stayed there like, yes, I'm still here. I just want you to get the message.
I wonder, too, if somebody's religious beliefs put that spin on it where they automatically think it's demonic, because, if it didn't hurt the person, then to me, that's just neutral. I mean, there's nothing demonic necessarily about a shadow person appearing in your home or on your ceiling, unless it does something really nasty to you. But the demonic thing, I definitely think you hear about that a lot more from people who have the Judeo-Christian beliefs, or they believe in that's a part of their spiritual belief system. But it's interesting because that was still there the next morning, and it was just a very neutral, almost like spot on the ceiling.
Yeah, that's what I found interesting too. Is like felt, menacing, and it's not quite a typical shadow person. The shape of it sounds typical, but not the white eyes. I don't hear about.
Yeah, that's kind of creepy. But you also have to wonder: are people mistaking that in between state, between waking reality and the dream state, where everything seems a bit surreal? Because you do have a lot of hallucinations, then you can hear things. Everything is a little bit amplified. You can have all kinds of visions, and you're not quite asleep. You're not quite awake. So,
what I find really fascinating about that, though, I've heard about that a lot, but it's like this happened 12 years ago. And a person will experience something like this, and it will stay with them for a lifetime. Yeah. And it's like a dream. It's like, hold on, there's a whole other level, because it's different. Like, it's like you gotta, it has a lot more weight to it. I think we have thousands of dreams in our lifetime, but that went 12 years ago. It's like, oh, there's something to it. So it's
definitely. I mean, you obviously have been collecting these sightings and stories for a long time. So, what are some of the common things that keep showing up over and over again?
Oh, yeah. They like to pounce on people when they're at their most vulnerable. So when they're sleeping, so they do like to creep up and take advantage. And it's a horrible thing. So it's like, it sounds typical, but then it's a little different, just the way that it's appearing as, I guess you could say. But we got to get to our first break. Oh my goodness, you guys, you're listening to me, Heidi Hollis, the Outlander on Inception Radio Network, and we will be right back.
You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin.
You didn't forget what's coming up tonight, did you? Hi, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Never miss that interview you were looking forward to or the show on your favorite topic. Follow IRN on Twitter, I_R_N, and get reminders about the evening's live shows as well as fun and important updates throughout the week. That's I_R_N, and never miss a great show again.
Hi, Bob Tarmac for MJ'sHealthyWay.com. Are you into vitamins, nutrition, meal replacements, health shakes, keeping your body in good shape, your internal engine going? Boy, do I have a perfect place for you. MJ'sHealthyWay.com. They offer the best service and products, and they'll tell you anything you need to know about any product they have to offer. I get all my vitamins, meal replacements, shakes from MJ'sHealthyWay.com. That's spelled MJSHealthyWay.com. There's so much more at the website. Go check it out. MJ'sHealthyWay.com.
Hello, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Remember, you can take your Inception Radio shows on the go. Just download the Inception Radio Network app for your iPhone, iPad, or Android smartphones and access live shows, past shows, guest lineups, and much more. Just visit the iTunes Store or the Google Play Marketplace and download it today for free.
Are you a fan of Inception Radio Network? Do you reckon it's the best alternative talk radio station on the planet? Well, if you do, head to facebook.com/Inception Radio Network and like the page. Tell your friends, spread the word, and keep listening to the best.
Hello, everyone. Lorian Fenton here, host of the California MUFON radio show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today.
Hello, folks. Heidi Hollis is rocking the airwaves every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern right here on IRN. But if you want to learn more about Heidi, check out her amazing website at www.HeidiHollis.com. For IRN, this is MJ.
From aliens to ghosts, demons to angels, and from shadow people to the outlandish, Heidi Hollis is the Outlander.
Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to me, Heidi Hollis, the Outlander. Remembering always, if it's weird, we're here. And sorry, you to stop staring at me, okay? We're giving you advice and insight on outlandish topics. Phone lines are always open, 1-888-919-2355. But I do realize that most of you guys listen to us through the app and not live, so it's okay. It's all good. I don't mind. And I've got my buddies here in the chat room who are just applauding like crazy. So anyways, just before the break, we did the Outlandish Corner together, me and my guest, Marie D. Jones, and I'm going to now officially introduce her. Everybody brace yourselves. Marie D. Jones is the best-selling author of over a dozen nonfiction books on cutting-edge science, paranormal, unknown anomalies, and ancient knowledge. That does not mean she's old, okay, everybody? Just don't think that. She is also, I'm just kidding, a novelist with several titles releasing in 2015, including two... Wow, you're busy. YA series. She and her son, Max, co-authored a middle grade novel series, Evil Kid Hunting Organization, EKHO. And she is also a screenwriter and producer. Marie has appeared on over 1,000 radio shows worldwide and on the History Channel's Nostradamus Effect, Ancient Aliens. And she also writes regularly for magazines like New Dawn, Intrepid, Fate, Paranormal Paranoia, the conspiracy reader. Everybody, round of applause for Marie D. Jones. Woo! Oh, gosh. Everybody calm down. The red carpet's out already. Man.
I'm a star. I want applause. Need one of those buttons to press, with the sound of applause.
Oh, I'm sure it's being pushed all over the world for all we know.
Since we writers, as you know, we get such quiet attention. We're not like movie stars, we have people at our feet and fans hounding us.
Yeah, it's just how this...
It's a little quieter.
I've had pens thrown at me, if that counts. I'm just kidding.
Oh well, at least they didn't drop from the ceilings.
Yeah, no ceiling dropping pens.
And I agree.
So, Marie, my goodness, you are busy. I mean, what on earth? Okay, you're saying that you don't experience these odd things, paranormal things yourself. So what got your interest to even look that way then?
I just, ever since I was old enough to walk and talk, I was telling ghost stories and believed in UFOs and Bigfoot, and I wanted to read everything I could get. I just was really into that stuff from birth. And who knows, something may have happened early on, but I've asked my mom and dad, and they said, no, nothing really. You're just we're a really weird, imaginative kid.
Thanks, Mom.
And my dad was a scientist, so I also kind of grew up with this, a lot of exposure to science, and I always loved science, and I always felt like the two went together. My interest in the hidden spooky stuff and then science. But I've had a few experiences, mostly when I was younger, in my teens and early 20s. Nothing is in your face, is what your readers have sent in. But things that just always reminded me that there's more to reality than what my five senses and what my very limited brain could perceive. And it was just a very natural knowing. And so I started writing when I was really young, and I always knew I was going to be a writer. And I started writing a lot about the paranormal, and I wrote like horror and sci-fi short stories and stuff. So just that subject matter was always there, always around. And then as I got older, I got more serious about researching and studying and trying to figure out what the science was behind the supernatural, because there is a science to it. We just don't know what it is yet. To me, the science of something is simply how it works. And I wanted to know. I want to know how everything works, including reality that we take for granted.
I always find that fascinating, like with especially an author like yourself who's written so much on so many peculiar topics, even, and to not have always in your face type of things saying that this is really happening. So it's really a leap of faith and endearing faith to be able to do what you do. So that gives me just like very, very much to pause about and think, like, what an interesting person that, you just were really, so passionate without that hardcore proof sitting in your living room like some of us have.
Well, but it would happen often enough. And I had some really strange things. When I was in junior high school, I moved to San Diego from New York. And one of the first friends that I had, who sort of took me in, because I didn't have any friends when I first moved here, obviously, her family was suffering from a very disturbing poltergeist experience. And it was ongoing. These were good Lutheran church-going people who had gone to the church for help and didn't get any help. Obviously the Lutheran church at the time, it was like, we don't know what to do. These were honest people. They were not lying. They did not want publicity. I only found out because my friend told me she wanted me to come over and stay the night, sleepover.
Oh, yeah, they needed bait, Marie.
I feel really bad. I kept turning her down, and she knew, because she had told me she wanted to be open with me, because she said, something might happen. It probably won't happen to you, But she said there are things that happen, like in the upstairs hallway, there'll be clothespins flying across the hallway, and you just have to, if you get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, be aware of that. So,
take an eye
they're
out.
just telling me all this other stuff. Well, the funny thing is finally I agreed to stay overnight because I just felt so bad. I was always asking her to come to my house, and I went there, and nothing happened, luckily. But I will tell you that I had to go to the bathroom really bad in the middle of the night. I did not leave her bed. I did not leave that room. I did not go into the hallway. Nothing happened. The whole night, I just could barely sleep. I felt I'm a little sensitive, too, to that kind of stuff. So I can kind of feel a little bit of a sense of foreboding or, just sort of a downturn in energy. And so I kind of felt it. So the next morning, we were watching an old movie in the den, and she was sitting on the couch behind me, and I was sitting on the floor, just kicking back. And all of a sudden, I felt this something pass through like every cell of my body. It just passed, and I stiffened, and I must have gasped or something. And she said, "Did you just feel it?" And I was like, "Yeah." Can I go home now? And I was a smart kid. I mean, I was teenager. I never felt like that. It was not. It was not, that sort of crow walking over a grave, goose. It was nothing like that. I never felt.
We're having a little difficulty hearing you a bit there, Marie. I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. It sounds
better. Yeah, that's weird. There's spirits in the wires.
Gremlins.
But anyway, to make a long story short, they continued to have a lot of activity until her older sister moved out of the house. And her older sister was very rebellious, a lot of negative energy stuff, how they talk about in poltergeist activity. There's always one person, usually a female. But the interesting thing is, after Carol and I lost touch, I moved to LA for a while when I was an older teenager. And she later told me when we reconnected again that they left the house. The new owners came in and they literally tore the house down to, the foundation and rebuilt it. And she said, we never really found out why they did that. So, but, the activity didn't follow my friend and her family. That's a good thing, which again makes me feel very comfortable in saying it was classic poltergeist activity and not a ghost or something that would follow them. And but it was just really interesting to see how the church, the Lutheran church, their hands were tied to the point where I was telling Carol, let me see if I can figure out how to do an exorcism. And I mean, stupid thing. I was like 15 or 16. I mean, what an idiot. So I'm getting all these books out of the library because this is back when we had libraries, folks.
What a thought.
I remember trying to cast a circle in my bedroom and just getting a real bad chill, like, you know what, I can't, this is not right. I better not mess with this stuff. So it's stuff like that. So it didn't happen directly to me, but I could feel something was wrong or I felt something. I remember in Hollywood going to a Halloween party at a mansion that we didn't find out till later. In one of the rooms, somebody had been murdered. And I remember going to put my coat in the room and my purse and just like, whoa, this wall of bad. And I just sort of backed up and closed the door. And then somebody came up to me and said, don't put anything in there. We don't want anybody going in that room. And then they told me why. And I was like, oh
God.
Okay. Well, I'm not putting my purse in there because if I do, I'll never get it back. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really jealous. I kind of thought after time maybe it was because I grew up with a scientist father that maybe I had adopted a sort of real left brain over analytical wall that maybe kept this stuff away. I don't know. It's really weird, but now nothing happens to me. Nothing.
Well, but you did get a little reinforcement to be like, there is something. So
yeah, and I knew the thing is
that can last a lifetime.
I didn't need the reinforcement, but it
Right.
did, obviously it did help and gave me some clues about things. Every now and then something weird will happen where I just know somebody's going to email me that hasn't in, 3 years or just that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
It just reminds you that there is this invisible reality that we're seeing the effects of, we don't see the causes. And so it looks very paranormal and very supernatural to us. But on the level that it's all occurring, it's quite normal.
Yeah, indeed. It's interesting to me too, though. It's like I've had people who are such hardcore investigators who have just had the single event that lasts them a lifetime, and they're like, "Look, I'm set. I don't need any more. I had enough.
Right.
I just want to be the one to look for the answers now." I've seen it shake up people's reality when they've experienced something so out of the norm. And it's like even people that I thought were really truly prepared for such a thing and not deal with it very well. So it's really interesting and sad. But one of the things that I think is important, and I want to get your take on this, but when it comes to people, general in the population that have not experienced things, I'm of the mindset that at some point they just might. And I want to be the one to try to help them prepare for that moment, because 9 times out of 10, they're going to not know what to do. It's going to shake them up. They're going to be looking around, and I want to reach those people to let them know the person that is probably in their life already has experienced something, and hopefully encourage them to share their story. So when, not if, but when something happens to this other person, they'll be like, "Oh, cousin It had something happen. Let me go talk to cousin It." I mean, what's your take?
There's not that sense of isolation that I think occurred, 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, before the advent of the shows like this and the TV shows, and also
breaking up a little bit again.
The social networking too, the ability for somebody now to post, "I had something happen to me, here it is," and then get 50 responses of people saying, "Oh my God, my friend George did," or "My brother had that happen." So we're so much more connected now that we can find those other people and help them not be so afraid, or help them figure out how to deal with it.
Exactly. I mean, it is kind of cool to see the expansion of these topics out on the web, or with the groups and the Facebook and the videos, and then we got the TV and the radio shows. It's so cool.
Totally. Yeah, totally mainstream now.
Yes, and before the internet, people, you actually had to leave your house to go meet other people who have experienced things so you could vent, because you couldn't vent to just anybody for a while,
These people can't even imagine that we had to go to the library to look up information. We didn't have Google. We didn't have cell phones, Oh, how the heck did we survive? But you brought up something that a confessional made live on your show. I do, when I was little, I was terrified of everything that I was interested in. I was terrified of ghosts. I was terrified of aliens. I was so afraid of the dark that I had to sleep with the light on. I'm still a big chicken. And, and that's the thing. If something happened to me, I'd probably have a meltdown. Yet at the same time, there's that part of me that wants to know what it is, where it comes from, how it got here. I want to know the mechanics of it. So I'll risk pooping my pants in terror.
Oh, dear God. I'm not going on a hunt with you ever, Marie.
I know.
Ever.
I really
just
am.
Keep that clear.
Oh, I totally can't sleep in a dark room. I have to have light or a TV on. I really am a big chicken. But at the same time...
But that's okay. Believe it or not, I went through that stage too, and I always recommend, and I do this too, I have a light out on somewhere in my place. So I do see a trickle of light, because I do experience a lot of odd things, and I want to see what's coming, gosh darn it,
The human stuff.
Yeah, it's like I want to see because it's happened to me where I didn't have a light on, and I resented and regretted it ever since. I'm like, and it helps to keep the negative things away. They don't like that you could see them coming. So I always encourage it. Hey, flip a light on. I'm a grown woman. I don't care. I'm going to turn the light on.
Yeah, I have a hard time sleeping like with my back to the door.
It's because you know what's out there.
I want to be, it's like, well, okay, so I guess I want to see what's coming. I'd rather see it and be able to react.
Yeah, get the baseball bat.
Yeah, but it's funny. I mean, I think fear probably is behind a lot of curiosity that we all feel. You know, we don't fear something. We want to understand it. And if we understand it, then maybe that can remove that element of fear. Not in every instance. I think that there are things to be afraid of. Oh, yeah. But the unknown is always so terrifying to us, even when it may be something, you know, amazingly beneficial or really positive or fun. I mean, some of these entities may be a blast to hang out with, but we have that sort of block of fear.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So tell us, I mean, you've got so many books out there. Tell us some of these books, some of the topics that you've written on, and why the heck did you go in those directions? Because it's so multi-layered. I'm like, what? She did that too?
You know what? My intention when I was younger was to write novels, which is what I'm now kind of moving or transitioning and doing more before I drop that, you know, get too old to do anything. I started out writing fiction, short stories. I wrote horror and science fiction because that's what I liked. And as I got older, I started articles for some paranormal magazines that existed a long time ago. One of them was called Beyond Reality. There was Alternate Dimensions. These are old magazines, folks. And screenwriting. So I was a writer, so I was kind of getting my feet wet in all these different types of writing. I really had no intention of ever writing a nonfiction book. It just wasn't something that turned me on. And then just one day, about 10, 12 years ago, I just thought, I feel like writing, I want to see if I can write this is me. I'll just go, I want to see if I can do this. And I'll do it. You know, I want to see if I can make a children's video. And I went and I did that. And I want to see if I can do this. I wrote a book, Looking for God in All the Wrong Places. And it's, I guess the only way to describe it, it's spiritual humor. You know, it's sort of commentary and humor. It sold maybe 5 copies. But it got me Lisa Hagen, my agent, who you and I were talking about earlier, which awesome. That was the gift that book brought into my life.
Nice.
When Lisa and I started working together, she said, what do you want to write? And I said, I want to write about quantum physics and the paranormal. And I mean, she must have thought I was nuts. I didn't have a platform. Nobody knew who I was, and I was not a PhD. And yet Lisa believed in me. I believed in me. I put together a proposal immediately, and within 3 months I had the book Science, PSIENCE, a deal with New Page Books, and there was no looking back after that. I mean, they just wanted one book after another, and I was permitted by them to write about whatever I wanted.
Well, holy smokes, I would just roll with it.
Yeah, I mean, they're amazing. You know, as long as, it had to kind of stay within the parameters of what their company published. But yeah. I had such freedom. And so, you know how hard it is to write a nonfiction book. It is grueling to do the research and then get it all down in the right way and edit it and blah, blah, blah. If you're going to do that, you have got to love your subject matter.
True.
And then you're going to live with it for a long time after it's out. You're going to be promoting and doing radio and talking to people about it. So I realized pretty quickly that if I'm going to do all this work, it's going to have to be subjects that really turn me on. And I wrote a book with my dad, again, who was a geophysicist. We wrote a book about supervolcanoes. After that, I wrote a book about the 2012 mythology and enigma called 2013. Was a hugely successful book. And if I may say so myself, probably the best objective look at that whole phenomenon, because that's what it was. It was a phenomenon built upon a false mythology. But anyway, and then Larry Flaxman got a hold of me. He emailed me. He had read science, and we sort of hit it off really well and decided to write some books together. So we did 1111, the time prop phenomenon, which was actually a subject that our publisher, New Page Books, came to us with and said, "Hey, have you guys ever heard about this?" We were like, "Huh? No."
Wow.
But we looked into it, and it was amazing. And that triggered, a whole series of books that he and I wrote. But, it got to the point where you get really addicted to being able to write about what fascinates you, because you get to research, and then you get to write about it, and you have a book that comes out, and then you get to talk about it. We turned in our 8th book together, and my 13th book a couple of weeks ago, called Mind Wars, The History of Mind Control and Electronic Surveillance, which is way off in a different tangent.
Yeah, wow.
And, I was kind of feeling like, oh man, I really want to get back to my fiction roots. And luckily I signed about a year and a half ago with a literary manager who handles fiction and film, and got a lot of that stuff going. And that's been really awesome. So I'll keep doing nonfiction, but I won't pump out as many as before, because it really is exhausting. It is.
People don't realize it's a thing of passion. It has to be.
It has to be.
Yes, it really is. And it's like, you've got to have the interest, you've got to have the desire, and it takes over your mind. It takes over your life for a bit.
It does.
Yeah.
And, people don't realize that after you write the book, are you, prepared to talk about it over and over again for who knows how long? And I think a lot of people don't realize that there's the marketing side of things, and that's going to last a long time. So yeah, you dang well better like the subject you're writing about.
Yeah, I was going to say, though, isn't it a blast? I mean, I tell people, it's like, try not to go above where you are at in your life and how you express yourself if you choose to put your story together in a book. Yeah. I write as I speak, so I might say the word crap in a book because that's how I talk. So,
me too.
It's like I'm very casual. It's like, but when some people, I've had a lot of friends, a lot of people that I know, is just like, Heidi, I wrote this book, and would you take a look at it? And I see all these fancy words that I have never heard them say before.
Like, what the heck?
I'm like, you know what? That's wrong. No, just be yourself and just relate it as if you're telling a friend over coffee, having a good old time. I mean, that's
conversational. And it's like, find your own voice, because there's now there's millions of writers out there, because there's the whole world of self-publishing.
Oh yeah.
And you got to find your own voice. But I've been really lucky that I got to write so many books that had something to do with the side of life that we don't know as much about, because not all my books are paranormal. Mm-hmm. I wrote a book called Destiny versus Choice, the scientific and spiritual evidence behind fate and free will. I have the longest subtitles in the world. And but because I always have felt that I have a destiny, always, since I was a very little girl. And I was talking to so many people at the time who wanted to know, Marie, do you believe in destiny? Do you think I have a destiny? Do you believe in fate? And so I thought, I want to write a book about this. Nice. And yet the funny thing is as I'm writing about that subject, there are these sort of paranormal elements that sneak in, talking to tarot readers and astrologers and anybody who reads the divination systems, or anybody who reads the future, tea leaf, palm readers.
We got to get to our last break here, Marie.
Boy.
Guys, you're listening to me, Heidi Hollis, the Outlander on Inception Radio Network, and we will be right back.
You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin.
You didn't forget what's coming up tonight, did you? Hi, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Never miss that interview you were looking forward to or the show on your favorite topic. Follow IRN on Twitter, I_R_N, and get reminders about the evening's live shows as well as fun and important updates throughout the week. That's I_R_N, and never miss a great show again.
Hi, Bob Tarmac for MJ'sHealthyWay.com. Are you into vitamins, nutrition, meal replacements, health shakes, keeping your body in good shape, your internal engine going? Boy, do I have a perfect place for you. MJ'sHealthyWay.com. They offer the best service and products, and they'll tell you anything you need to know about any product they have to offer. I get all my vitamins, meal replacements, shakes from MJ'sHealthyWay.com. That's spelled MJSHealthyWay.com. There's so much more at the website. Go check it out. MJ'sHealthyWay.com.
Hello, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Remember, you can take your Inception Radio shows on the go. Just download the Inception Radio Network app for your iPhone, iPad, or Android smartphones and access live shows, past shows, guest lineups, and much more. Just visit the iTunes Store or the Google Play Marketplace and download it today for free.
Are you a fan of Inception Radio Network? Do you reckon it's the best alternative talk radio station on the planet? Well, if you do, head to facebook.com/Inception Radio Network and like the page. Tell your friends, spread the word, and keep listening to the best.
Hello, everyone. Lorian Fenton here, host of the California MUFON radio show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today.
Hello, folks. Heidi Hollis is rocking the airwaves every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern right here on IRN. But if you want to learn more about Heidi, check out her amazing website at www.HeidiHollis.com. For IRN, this is MJ.
From aliens to ghosts, demons to angels, and from shadow people to the outlandish, Heidi Hollis is the Outlander.
Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to me, Heidi Hollis, the Outlander. Remembering, always if it's weird, we're here. We're giving you advice and insight on outlandish topics, and the phone lines are always open, but I know you guys mostly listen to us through the app, so it's all good. I forgive you. I have my awesome guest here, Marie D. Jones, and I want you guys to go to her website, which is mariedjones.com, correct? That's right, Marie?
Yes, so simple.
Okay.
I made it easy, just like you, the name.
Yeah, there you go. Just put your name up there.
For heaven's sakes.
You spell it right. It's not Mary, it's Marie.
Oh, gosh. And not Maria, please.
Yes, not Maria either. So, my goodness, we were talking about your work and so much that you've been doing, and it's such a broad range of things, but you have a new book, Viral Mythology. What on earth is that about? Please tell that long subtitle for us
Oh,
first.
my gosh. Okay, here we go. Ready? It's Viral Mythology, How the Truth of the Ancients was encoded and passed down through legend, art, and architecture. Probably the longest title ever.
Holy smoke. It does tell the story, though. It gives you a good idea.
Yeah.
So,
and it does. I mean, that's what subtitles are good for.
Yes. This sounds like Ancient Aliens material for the TV series.
Some of it is.
Okay.
It is about... I'm absolutely fascinated with how things go viral, whether it's in the news or Facebook or Twitter. Or I love that there is literally a science behind how you take a piece of information or an image or what have you viral. And when Larry and I set out to write the book, we were asking questions such as, how did things go viral in the olden days? They didn't have all this stuff.
They threw a stone and hit somebody with a note on it. That's what.
Exactly. And because if you think about it, the stuff that went viral thousands of years ago ended up becoming our history that we buy into now in our textbooks that were taught in school. The stuff that didn't go viral, that got suppressed or buried or forgotten or ignored, that's our hidden history. And we were just so fascinated by how do we piece together our history based on the stuff that has gone viral enough to stand the test of time, and is a lot of it hidden in legends and folklore and stories and myths and religious texts? Is it hidden in art, whether we're talking primitive rock etchings and scrawls on inside of cave walls? Is it hidden in buildings like the pyramids and different monuments and temples? Is all of that stuff from primitive and ancient times trying to tell us something? And if so, what? Because that's our history. If you think about today, we embed truth in our novels, in movies, in TV series. You can watch a TV series like Breaking Bad, and you'll say, well, that's fiction. But there's so much truth about the human condition in that story.
Good point.
That you could make assumptions about human beings from that. And, I'm a massive Walking Dead freak fan, not because I like zombies.
Those better not be real. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I hate zombies. But what I love about that show is how much truth there is about human behavior under those types of conditions.
And I love Family Guy. There's a lot of issues.
There is. My son, he got me hooked on that. And it's so funny. They touch on truths, sometimes, truths that make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my, he really went there.
How do they get away with that? That's really what the book is about. So we talk about everything from, ancient art, ancient and primitive types of art, how writing came about, and how information got passed down from way back when to today. Can we really discern what our true history is from it? What pieces might we be missing? Can you read myths, Greek, Roman, Norse myths? Is there any truth in there? How do you find what it is? All that kind of stuff.
Ooh, do tell. Do you have any juicy ones for us? What's a good viral myth?
The flood myth. The flood shows up in, the Bible, obviously, is the story of Noah. It shows up in the Epic of Gilgamesh. It shows up in a lot of different origin stories from different regions all over the world. So, and if you kind of do the comparative religion and comparative mythology thing where you look for common symbols and motifs, you start to see that this flood is everywhere. And it seems to have happened within a certain time frame, which was 10 to 12,000 years ago. So then what you do is you turn to the scientific community, which could be archaeologists, anthropologists, geologists, climatologists, and you say, what evidence do you guys have that a major global flood could have occurred at that time? And believe it or not, there's a lot of real good scientific evidence that there was a flood. They can look at different layers of sediment and they can say, oh, here you go. About 11,000 years ago, this happened.
So it does fall into place with the timing.
Yeah, and I mean, that's really the only way that we have to prove that a biblical story or a story that you read in the Bhagavad Gita or a myth of old might have some truth to it.
Thank God. I was getting a little worried that God didn't get rid of us of all these horrible people, because I'm really hoping for another good cleansing
there
at some
probably
point.
will be another flood.
Only all the politicians. It's all.
Yeah, there you go. They'll be the first ones on the ark. But it's really cool to think that you could read a myth, because I loved mythology in high school and college, and that there might be some truth in those outlandish and embellished, fascinating stories, that they might have actually been talking about some real people.
Zeus.
Some real, they didn't understand the concept of thunder and lightning. Right. So what did they do? They deified it. They wrote a amazing, beautiful, dark, violent story about gods and goddesses around the things that happened that they didn't understand. And now it's our job all these years later, when we understand what was going on, like volcanoes and earthquakes, excuse me, to go back and look at those stories and go, okay, that's what they may have been talking about there. And then what other truths might they be trying to tell us that we haven't figured out yet? And also, you said the ancient aliens words.
Yes.
And that's one of the most popular theories behind how a lot of this information may have been passed down, how we may have received a lot of very sophisticated information that we didn't have. Because, if you lived 5,000 years ago, let's say, it would take forever for you to get a piece of information 500 miles away. It had to go by foot, camel, whatever, crude boat if you had it. Yet somehow throughout our history, there have been these regional and global leaps in advancement and understanding and technology. And did somebody give us the information? And did they kind of give it to everybody at the same time? And, So that's one of the big theories. And there's a lot of really cool evidence, if you want to call it that, for the fact that we may have been visited by our friends from the ceiling.
It was your fault that went there. You called it, and then all of a sudden it just fell in row like that. I'm like, what?
They came from up above. They had to come through the ceiling.
You're like, I really hate stuff through the ceiling, and boom, boom, boom. My gosh, that's.
What's going to happen now? You are going to get. I can almost guarantee you're going to have to keep me posted on this. You're going to get a ton of emails and messages from people who have had ceiling encounters. Because it's like totally you open the door to all the people that thought they were total freaks. Who didn't want to talk about their ceiling encounter.
My gosh, that's
where the portal is. I don't know.
The portals are all above our heads. People, don't look up. Yes. Keep your heads down.
We've been looking down all this time at our feet. And those dang portals have been in our ceilings.
I wanted to touch a little bit too on this is kind of an odd coincidence because, I call myself weird, and I'm sorry, but you're a little strange too, Marie. It's okay.
It's all right, honey. I know. I'm aware.
But this is so weird. Here you have EKHO, Evil Kid Hunting Organization. I have Diary Blog of the Fickle Finders. And it's kind of like the investigative thing, having kids look into different stuff. Is that what your story is here? This YA title it's got?
It's Echo. Well, I actually have another series that my manager we're trying to get out called Mythology USA, which is similar. Nice. But Echo is when my son was in elementary school. My son has a disability. And he walked with a limp. He was in a wheelchair, all this stuff. And he was being bullied in grade school. And I wasn't aware of it at first. Oh. And then I kind of became aware of it after the fact. However, I discovered that he had a real creative way. This is a real story. So the book is based on something that really happened. Oh. My son, unbeknownst to me, had started a spy organization at his school called Echo.
Nice.
Evil Kid Hunting Organization. he and other kids that were bullied, friends of his and other kids that eventually wanted to join ECHO, created a very sophisticated system of rankings. You know, you could be a private, an elite, a commander. You know, they had these like system of rankings that you went through if you were a member of ECHO. They had a website that my son had designed. He was very young, that had missions on it. So every morning before they went to school, the ECHO kids would get on the website, get their mission for the day, and they would carry that mission out. And, you know, I didn't know all this until later, but I kept hearing him whispering, ECHO, ECHO. Or I said, Master, do your homework? No, I'm working on ECHO. I thought he was just writing a story or something. It was so incredibly sophisticated that they ended up having like hundreds of kids that wanted to be in ECHO. And the bullies formed their own group called DEEK, Destroy ECHO Kids Everywhere.
No, come on.
Absolutely. Not kidding you. And
I'm on ECHO's team.
Yeah, you know, and the school kind of knew about it, but it was not violent, or it actually gave kids like my son so much confidence. Oh, my Lord, he became like the ringleader. He became so popular for being this kid that took his, my son is brilliant with technology. And so he took what he was good at and used it as a tool to help fight bullies. And basically what ECHO did was they spied on the bullies and they stayed one step ahead of them. Everything the bullies were planning, ECHO knew about, and they could kind of sabotage it and stop it.
Love it.
So, funny thing is, like a couple of years later, because my son's 13 now, so a couple of years after all of that was going on, I met a TV producer named Wendy Cram, and we became friends. We worked together on a few things, and I just off the top of my head mentioned, oh, you're going to get the biggest kick out of what my son's been doing. And I told her, and she went nuts. And she said, you know, let's write up a treatment. And then it turned out that I had to have a book first. Everybody wanted a book series.
Wow.
And I had other things going on. I just kind of let it go. And then when I signed with Natalia Gandolfo, my literary manager, that was the first thing she said to me: sit your butt down and write that before you and Max forget, you know, what happened. And
wow.
My son is still friends with all the ECHO kids, by the way. So I wrote it, and we got the deal, and Max and I are working on book 2. But we've taken that reality, you know, of what happened, but we're adding a sci-fi spin to it to make it even bigger and cooler and creepier. It is fun. But yeah, it's like that, those middle grade books, I got to tell you, and you know, because you've written one, middle grade kids are so sophisticated now that they want, you know, they want to be entertained, and they want it to be good stuff.
Right. Right.
But yeah, you're you know, you're on the right track, boy.
Well, I've got a question here that's coming in from the chat room. They're asking if you're writing a screenplay for this, and then they say never mind. So this is getting written into you know, to inspire other kids to be on television or something, or a film, or potentially?
Our plans are with ECHO is it's going to, we originally were going to do a trilogy. Now it's going to be a 6-book series, and Kids of ECHO will grow and evolve as my son and his friends have been. New issues come up. But like I said, that we're adding in this sci-fi element that is going to be absolutely phenomenal, and it is being shopped for a film series or a television series. So whatever happens first.
Isn't it a slow process? It's like, oh my goodness. Yeah. People have no idea. I mean, the passion has to drag for years in you because everybody doesn't catch up to where you really want to see things go.
And you know what? You better have the thickest skin on the planet, because you're going to be rejected. You're going to come so close to something and then have it fall through.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, that I have not shot myself in the head yet is such a testament to my thick Italian skin.
Oh, my gosh. But I understand. Now, you've been on a couple of different shows. You also were on Nostradamus Effect. What were you talking about on History Channel there?
That was a series that they, and I'm not a big fan of TV shows. I'm kind of self-conscious, even though I talk up a good storm. But And also I tend to talk too much, so it's kind of like, all right, well, you shut up now.
No, you're good.
Nostradamus Effect was a series that History Channel did before December 21st, 2012, to kind of play up on that whole hype and the mythology. And I was interviewed to talk about the web bot and some of the ways that information, could sort of evolve and expand beyond 2012 as technology expanded. And I got to talk more about that kind of stuff. But they also did ask me about Nostradamus himself and what methodologies he might have used to get his information about the future. So one of the things that I talked about was the collective unconscious, the 0 point field, as Larry and I call it, the grid, where you have information, like a sea of information, past, present, and future, that can be tapped into. And I think that probably is what psychics and remote viewers are tapping into to get their information about the past, present, and future. So that's the kind of stuff I got to talk about.
Oh, that's interesting. So you think that is where this info is all coming from?
I think we all have that ability. Some really a lot better than others to, I think every now and then we all get those times where we know something is going to happen, and it happens. Or we have some kind of flashback to the past that wasn't the past that we're living now, but may very well have been a past life of ours. And, the human brain is the only thing that stands between us and the fact that time is not linear beyond the construct of the human brain. So if that field of information is out there, perhaps there are times that we have that ability to tap into it, and some people obviously are a lot better at it than others.
A lot of people tend to rely to tap into the Google search. No, all you have to say is, go Google or something now. It's just so funny. But you don't even have to touch the screen or anything anymore.
Yeah, the thing about Google is Google almost has the ability to predict the future based on the information that it's taking in. And I know that like in terms of trying to predict a terrorist attack, and you're listening to the chatter and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But these web search engines and WebBot, which is this big sort of search engine dump where people have been able to actually predict things that were going to happen based upon just global chatter and global conversations and keywords that were being searched more often. And I'm not just talking about terrorist attacks. I'm talking about historical events. Something happening that, oh, wow, we saw that coming, because enough of the collective unconscious out there was kind of, merging, and people were, I want to know about this. What's going on with this? What's going on with that? And all sort of merged together. It's almost like there's some hidden web connecting everybody. And, there's...
I get what you're saying. I have heard, just before 9/11 happened, a lot of people were having dreams of, horrible things. And I even did. And I dreamt I'd seen a plane hit a building.
Really? Oh my God. You probably but you probably didn't tell anybody, right?
I did. This is the funny part, Marie. I told a group of friends of mine, and I totally forgot about it. And, after it happened, my friends go, "Oh my God, Heidi, you were right." And I'm like, "I was right about what? Don't you remember the dream about the plane?" I'm like, oh, I did, didn't I? It's just like, I totally forgot about it, but I remember it was really traumatic, but just amazing.
It's good that you told somebody, otherwise.
Somebody that had a better memory than I did.
Yeah, but I think we do that all the time, and how often must we ignore important messages that we're getting from that field of information, because our mind's on other things.
I think it's so important. Like you're talking about this hidden web that may be connecting all of us. But then there's that apparent web, that human connection, where we should be reaching out to people and enlightening each other. And it's a crying shame that still there's a level of ridicule that comes along with these odd topics that I think just needs to be shaken down already. It's like, come on. Oh, people might laugh at me. Really, it's really not that big of a deal. I laugh harder than anybody else can in the room. So oh, well, it's like just, it needs to be broken down. People need to start opening up and sharing more often. And it's like, I really commend you, for someone that has not been necessarily right in the nest of the paranormal, but you sure did help explain it. And I wanted to ask you, did you, it's kind of convenient to have a dad with the mind that he does. I mean, did you pick at his brain to be like, okay, Dad, what do you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's
unfortunately,
cool.
he died of ALS a few years ago, that horrible disease.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and that was hard because we wanted to write another book together after we wrote Supervolcano, but I picked my dad's brain. He was a physicist, so I picked his brain when I wrote science. My dad believed in ghosts and UFOs. He loved UFOs. As a child, growing up, my dad and some of his scientific colleagues that he was, professors with at Fairfield University and what have you, they would get together around the kitchen table drinking beer, brilliant oceanographers, climatologists, geophysicists, what have you, and talk about UFOs. So my dad was so open-minded, even though he might not be able to talk about that in the halls of academia, but he loved that stuff. And he's the one who really got me hooked on the connection between quantum and theoretical physics and the paranormal, and also the importance of numbers and mathematics as a sort of foundation of reality.
Wow.
Those were things that my dad really pushed, learn about this.
I'm so jealous. That's so awesome. My goodness.
Yeah.
I just had most of my family poke a stick at me and say, are you real? Are you really seriously going there? What's your problem, Heidi? And no, some of them are kind of strange like myself that have experienced odd things too. So it's okay. I'm among friends and family there. But I want to ask you, do you do events? Is there anything coming up soon?
I unfortunately the last few months have not been able to do anything. My son was supposed to be having some surgeries, but that all got shuffled around. So I have a couple of things that are being lined up for February and March of next year, and then we'll see what comes up. And the really cool thing is now making a little bit of transition into fiction. I'm hopefully going to be at some of the big cons, Comic-Con and Dragon Con.
Oh, I've done those. Those are the most fun.
No, oh my God, I'm like such a dorky fangirl at those things.
Oh my God. Even with my paranormal books, I've spoken at some of those. I have had the best time at those. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I totally feel you.
It's a great opportunity, yeah, because you get exposed to a lot of people who, may not go to a paranormal quote unquote conference, but you're going to be exposed to them there. So.
Oh, how much fun. My goodness. Well, I want you to put out, your website again, and how can people get a hold of you and share their minds with you?
Share your mind. Let's do a mind build. The website is mariedjones.com, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and all that stuff. And the books are sold everywhere. They should be in your brick and mortar stores if you don't like buying online. If not, have them order it. Let's save those bookstores, people.
Yes, really.
They're in Amazon and Books A Million and all that stuff. Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble has been my champion. They have always taken books that I've written for New Page and done special promotions, and I'm so grateful to Barnes & Noble.
Very cool. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on my show. We got to do this again.
Oh, we do. We barely scratched the surface here.
Dear God, yeah. I mean, this is just the beginning, Marie. I don't know if you knew that, but yeah.
We'll do a part 2.
Okay, we'll do
share some more feeling stories.
There you go. Well, you guys, we have come to the bottom of the show once again. I am so sorry it goes so fast. Remember, you can catch me here every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. You've been listening to me, Heidi Hollis, the Outlander on Inception Radio Network. Remembering always, if it's weird, we're here. Good night, everybody.